avoided recession. Hurrah!
Good morning. I'm not sure I would join in saying hurrah. I think we've technically avoided recession, but the truth is it's a very bad news story for our country, which does have huge potential, which the Chancellor said, and I agree with him. We do have huge potential, but I'm really worried looking at the figures today. We may have technically avoided recession, but the economy has been stagnant for the best part of last year. We are the only country in the G7 that hasn't recovered the economy to pre-COVID levels, and I've just seen statistics from the IMF saying that we are projected to have the lowest growth in the G7 countries this year alone. So we may have technically avoided recession, but my constituents are feeling the pinch when it comes to buying food, going to food banks, realising that they can't afford to feed their children. So I'm very worried.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be very cautious when it comes to the IMF. They don't often get their predictions right, is what the government would say in response to that. But you are right, inflation is still very high, 10.5% in December. For your constituencies and others around the country, does it feel like a recession?
I think it feels very difficult in terms of the cost of living crisis. So there's a few things. One is the price of food. The people I'm speaking to are talking about how they can't afford the essentials, the basic food. It's not luxury food. It's bread, milk, eggs. Things are just spiraling out of control. How they have no choice but to go to food banks. The fact that the energy prices are so high at the moment that they can't afford to put their heating on. And people are very worried. And this is what we've asked for as a Labour Party. We've said that we shouldn't let energy prices get any higher in April, and that's what people are worried about. Are my energy bills going to go up even higher? The problem, I think, at the moment is that there's no plan for growth from the Conservatives, from the government. They've had 10 plans for growth since 2010. I looked at the figures. They've had 4 plans for growth in this parliament alone, and yet it's achieved nothing. That's what I'm worried about, and I'm worried that businesses are losing the confidence in the government as well. The head of the CBI came out and said that the government is not doing enough, that they don't have enough ideas and imagination to get us out of this stagnant growth in the economy. So if we're losing the confidence of businesses, if people in my constituents are feeling that they can't afford to live their lives, then something's got to be done, and we need to see a proper plan for growth from the Chancellor and from the government. It's not good enough to say we technically avoided recession. That's not good enough for my constituents, and it's not good enough for our country.
Won the by-election last night. Ashley Dalton won West Lancashire. I mean, that was a bit of a shoo-in, wasn't it?
It's been a Labour seat for a long time, but I did look at the statistics and it was a 10% swing to the Labour Party and an 11% swing away from the Conservatives. So a very good result. You also have to bear in mind that people have election fatigue after having one election after another. It's very cold. Voter turnout tends not to be very strong when there's a by-election. And even then, she got 62% of the overall vote. So we're very proud of her. I heard her on the radio. It sounds like the first thing she's going to do when she gets into Parliament is fight for the children's A&E. So I think the government have to realise she's a force to be reckoned with.
Just while I've got you, Ms Siddiq, look at these images of these people here in southeastern Turkey, Adıyaman, 20,000 people being helped at this makeshift aid centre. A thought from Labour for them?
The thought is that it's devastating to watch parents looking for their children under the rubble. I mean, I don't know, I can't even imagine being in that situation, but we want to help in any way that we can. Even if there's pressures on the current aid budget, we want to make sure that we help in every possible way. We've also got to remember that there were 4 million Syrians there who were already in danger in the northwest, even before this earthquake hit because of the conflict. And we've got to make sure that we help them as well. Some of the figures I saw talked about there's a humanitarian corridor, just one for the next 6 months, and we've got to increase access. But what I can say to you is that if we can help with rescue operations, with humanitarian aid, with helping people get out of the rubble, we should be doing that as a country. The images are devastating and my heart goes out to them.